Wastewater treatment is extremely important in protecting public health and preserving our environment. As Malaysia continues to develop, large amounts of wastewater are produced daily from households, industries, and commercial activities. If this wastewater is not properly treated, it can pollute rivers, harm aquatic life, and threaten our clean water supply. In Malaysia, wastewater treatment is regulated by the Department of Environment under the Environmental Quality Act 1974. Treated wastewater must meet strict effluent standards before being discharged into water bodies. There are two main effluent standards. Standard A applies to environmentally sensitive or upstream areas and has stricter limits to protect water sources used for drinking. Standard B applies to general inland water bodies and still ensures environmental safety, although with less strict limits than Standard A. The wastewater treatment process begins with preliminary treatment, where large debris and solids are removed. This is followed by primary treatment, where heavier particles settle at the bottom. Next is secondary treatment, where microorganisms break down organic pollutants. And in some cases, advanced treatment is used to further remove harmful substances before the water is released back into rivers. Despite these measures, water contamination remains a serious issue in Malaysia. About 81% of the country's raw water supply comes from rivers, and around 30% of river monitoring stations report water quality that is at least slightly polluted. River pollution has also caused frequent water supply disruptions, especially in states like Selangor and Perak. These issues highlight why effective wastewater treatment and strict enforcement are crucial in preventing pollution incidents, such as the Kim Kim River contamination.
The story of the Kim Kim River toxic pollution, an environmental disaster that shocked Malaysia. It all started when illegal industrial dumping released hazardous chemical waste into the river. This was not just dirty water, it was a toxic cocktail, as you can see here. Investigation found dangerous substances including benzene, toluene and xylene. These chemicals didn't stay in the water, they evaporated, creating a toxic gas cloud that was carried by the wind. The impact was devastating. Thousands of residents were affected, but the most vulnerable victims were school children. Imagine sitting in class and suddenly feeling dizzy, nauseous, and struggling to breathe. That was the reality for hundreds of students. The situation was so severe that it triggered emergency evacuation and the closure of 111 schools in the area. In conclusion, the Kim Kim River incident was not just an accident, it was a consequence of negligence. It highlights the urgent need for the stricter law, proper waste management, and a commitment to protecting our environment so that history does not repeat itself. Thank you.
The first cause is illegal chemical dumping. The primary cause of the Kim Kim River pollution was illegal dumping of hazardous chemical waste. On the night of the 6 March 2019, toxic industrial waste containing volatile organic compounds such as benzene, toluene, and xylene was secretly discharged into the river, posing serious health risks through the inhalation and also direct exposure. The second cause is poor industrial waste management. Another major cause of poor industrial waste management practice. Some factories failed to treat hazardous waste at the licensed facilities and instead opted for illegal disposal to reduce costs, showing weak compliance with the environmental regulation. The next causes is weak monitoring and enforcement. The impact of the pollution was worsened by inadequate monitoring and enforcement. Limited inspection and delayed detection allowed the contamination to spread before immediate action could be taken, especially in nearby residential and school areas. The final causes is limited dilution capacity of the river. Finally, the Kim Kim River has limited ability to dilute high concentration of chemical waste due to the moderate size and low water flow. As the result, the discharged chemical accumulated rapidly, increasing toxicity levels and intensifying the impact of surrounding community.
One of the most important parameters in evaluating how severe any disaster is looking at the consequences and how impactful the tragedy was, and the Kim Kim River is no exception. It had some very severe consequences, which included a large number of people being hospitalized. In fact, over 5,000 people needed to be treated for various illnesses, whether it was chest pains, dizziness, vomiting, nausea, respiratory symptoms, difficulty in breathing, and so on. A lot of those people were school children, which might indicate a close proximity between the river and a lot of schools. So over 100 schools were closed and shut down. The impact was not restricted to humans. The aquatic ecosystem was also affected. It was disrupted as the river and water could no longer support the aquatic life of crabs and shrimps that used to be present in the river. It also wasn't endemic to the Kim Kim River. A lot of neighboring waters were polluted, and residents near the Kapok and Dang rivers reported that these rivers turned dark and developed an unbearable stench. The effects were also not short-lived. In fact, it continued up to 3 months later, when people were still being hospitalized in the Pasir Gudang area due to the effects of this poisoning and pollution.
Sungai Kim Kim, located in Pasir Gudang, Johor, became a national concern after serious chemical pollution incidents in 2019 that affected thousands of residents and school children. Since then, the government has taken several important steps to prevent future pollution and protect public health. First, extensive cleanup efforts were carried out. Contaminated water, sludge, and soil were removed from the river and disposed safely to eliminate toxic substances. Second, the government strengthened air and water monitoring systems. Real-time air quality sensors and regular water sampling are now used to detect pollution early, allowing authorities to respond quickly before it becomes dangerous. Third, regulatory enforcement was tightened. Factory inspections were increased and strict action is taken against illegal waste dumping. Most importantly, the government decided not to issue new licenses for chemical plants in Pasir Gudang, reducing industrial pressure in the area. Overall, these measures show a strong commitment to ensuring that Sungai Kim Kim is protected and that similar incidents do not happen again.
For the call to action, first we must demand accountability. It is crucial that we call on the authorities to strengthen enforcement and ensure those responsible for the Sungai Kim Kim pollution are held responsible. Strict laws are useless without strict action. Second, we must support environmental recovery. This includes advocating for clean aquaculture and actively volunteering to join beach cleanup efforts. Finally, this requires community and government action. We must stand united for a cleaner Kim Kim River. We urge you to join resident NGOs and officials in regular river monitoring, clean-up efforts and public reporting.